tell her yet if she panics. She'll ruin everything. That sentence stopped me cold in my own hallway. Not because it was loud, because it was careful. My name is Evelyn Moore. I'm 74. I live in Ohio. I was barefoot, standing on the rug my husband bought the year before he died. Frank, 6 years ago, heart attack, kitchen floor. 1 second, he was teasing me about burning toast. The next second, the plate hit the tile before he did. No goodbye, just silence. We had 2 children. My daughter lives out of state and calls when she can. My son, Caleb, lives here with his wife, Renee, and their 2 kids. And before I go any further, please stay with me until the end. This story carries a truth many of us don't say out loud. When you live quietly, people start planning around you. The voice I heard wasn't a stranger's. It was my son's. I didn't move, didn't cough, didn't clear my throat. Renee answered him, low and controlled. She doesn't need details yet, she said. When it's done, we'll explain. Done what? I stepped into the kitchen like I hadn't heard a thing. Morning, I said. They both turned at the same time, too fast. Caleb smiled. Renee smiled. The kind of smiles people practice in mirrors. You're up early, I said. Couldn't sleep, Caleb replied. Work stuff. Renee poured coffee. You sleep okay, Evelyn? Yes, I said. Did you, like a baby? I reached for my purse. The side pocket was empty. I checked the counter. The brown folder wasn't there. Frank's folder. Insurance papers. Deed copies. The one I never move. Did you tidy the counter? I asked. Renee didn't look up. Just a bit. You leave things out. Caleb chuckled. We're helping, Mom. Helping. Where's my spare key? I asked. Caleb blinked. Your what? The spare key. I keep it in my purse. Renee tilted her head. Are you sure? I'm sure, she smiled again. You probably moved it. I walked toward the living room. The cabinet door was open, just a crack. My lockbox was gone. I turned slowly. Where is it? Caleb said. Where's what? You know exactly what, Renee sighed. Evelyn, this is what we were talking about. What were you talking about? I asked. Caleb stepped closer. His hand lifted slightly, like he was ready to steady me. You've been overwhelmed lately, he said. Overwhelmed with what? Life, Renee answered. Bills, appointments, paperwork. It's a lot at your age. At your age. Before I could answer, the front door opened. The kids came in from school. Mason ran straight past me. Backpack dropped. Loud as ever. Harper didn't. She's 15. Quiet, always watching. She hugged me, slower than usual. Then she looked past me at the counter, the cabinet, the space where my lockbox used to be. Dad said you were busy, Mason said. Busy with what? Renee moved fast. Shoes off. Harper stayed where she was. You said you'd help me with history today, she said softly. I remember, I told her. Renee cut in. Another time. Harper didn't argue. She just nodded, but her eyes stayed on me. Caleb clapped his hands. All right, let Grandma breathe, breathe. The kids went to their room. Caleb and Renee stepped into the hallway. Not far enough, Renee whispered, sharp now. She noticed, Caleb replied. I know. She asked about the folder, Renee said, and the key, Caleb exhaled. The bank appointment is Thursday. My stomach tightened. Renee lowered her voice even more. Then we need to move faster. They came back smiling. Harper came back too. She stood near the doorway, phone in her hand, pretending to scroll. But she wasn't scrolling. She was listening. Caleb said brightly, "Everything okay, Mom?" I looked at my son, at my daughter-in-law, at my granddaughter who wouldn't meet my eyes. And that's when it hit me. Not fear, not panic, clarity. This wasn't care. This was planning. If we wait any longer, she'll catch on and change everything. That was the next sentence I wasn't meant to hear. This time, it came from behind a closed door. I was in the laundry room, folding towels the way I always do. Slow, neat, same stack every time. Caleb and Renee were in the back bedroom, the one they turned into a home office. The door wasn't fully shut. It never is. Renee was pacing. I could hear it in her voice. She asked about the lockbox, she said. That means she remembers where things go. Caleb sighed. She always remembers. That doesn't mean anything. It means she's still sharp, Renee snapped. And sharp people don't sign things blindly. I froze with a towel halfway folded. Caleb lowered his voice. The bank appointment is Thursday. There it was, a date. Renee stopped pacing. Then we don't have time to ease into this. What if she refuses? Caleb asked. She won't, Renee said. She hates conflict. And if she hesitates, there was a pause. We say she's overwhelmed, Renee finished. Doctor first, paperwork second. Loan clears, then it's done. Loan. My hands tightened around the towel. Caleb said, quieter now, Mom wouldn't fight us. Renee didn't miss a beat. People don't fight until they realize they're losing. I folded the same towel twice. Then I walked into the kitchen like I hadn't heard a thing. Caleb looked up from his phone. Everything okay? Yes, I said. Just tired. Renee smiled. That careful one. You should rest more. You've been pushing yourself. I'll lie down later, I said. That afternoon, things shifted. Not loudly. Not all at once. My mail wasn't on the table like it always is. My phone charger was unplugged and missing. When I asked about a bank letter I'd been expecting, Caleb said, "Oh, I brought it inside. I'll find it later." Later never comes when someone's buying time. Harper was sitting at the table, pretending to do homework. Pencil moving. Eyes not on the page. She looked up when Caleb said bank. Just for a second. That evening, my daughter called. She sounded tired. Everything okay there? She asked. Yes, I said, because that's what mothers do. We say yes until saying no feels dangerous. After dinner, Renee sat across from me. That tone again. Soft, careful. The voice she uses when she thinks she's being reasonable. Evelyn, she said, we've been talking. Caleb leaned against the counter, arms crossed. Talking about what? I asked. How much you've been handling, Renee said. Bills. appointments, house stuff. I waited. We think it's time to simplify, Caleb said. Simplify what? Life, he replied. For you, Renee nodded. Just small changes, nothing big. She slid a paper across the table. Not a contract. Not yet. A list. Bank names. Doctor contacts. Utility accounts. I already manage these, I said. And you do a wonderful job, Renee replied quickly. But it doesn't have to be so hard. Hard, that word again. Caleb added, We're here. Let us help. I looked at the paper, then at my son. Why now? I asked. He hesitated, just long enough to matter. Because we love you, he said. Renee reached across the table and touched my hand. You've done enough. Harper stood up then. I'm going to my room, she said. Her phone was in her hand. That night, I didn't sleep. Not because I was afraid, because everything had a deadline. The next morning, I woke up early. I opened the hallway closet. My file box was gone, not moved, gone. I walked into the kitchen. Caleb was already there, scrolling his phone. Where's my file box? I asked. Oh, he said without looking up. Renee put it somewhere safe. Where? With our documents, he replied. So it doesn't get mixed up. Mixed up with what? With everything. I poured coffee. My hands didn't shake. Caleb, I said, I want it back. He finally looked at me. Mom, he said slowly, you don't need all that stress. I need my things. Renee walked in, bright and cheerful. What's going on? She wants the files, Caleb said. Renee laughed lightly. Oh, that, we're organizing. Today, I said, I want them today. The room went quiet. Renee's smile tightened. Why are you upset? We're doing this for you. For me, I repeated. Yes, she said, so you don't have to worry. Caleb stepped closer. You've been misplacing things, Mom. I haven't misplaced anything. Renee tilted her head. You didn't remember where the spare key was. I remembered exactly where it was. Silence. Caleb cleared his throat. Let's not make this a fight, I nodded. You're right. Let's not. That afternoon, the kids came home from school. Mason ran in first. Harper walked slower. Grandma, Mason said, can you help me study later? Yes, I said. From the hallway, Renee answered. We'll see. Harper looked at me, then at Renee, then down at her phone again. Later, I heard Caleb on the phone. He didn't know I was standing behind the door. She's asking questions, he said. Pause. No, not aggressive, just alert. Another pause. We're moving forward anyway. Thursday. That night, I sat on my bed and made a decision, not a loud one, not a dramatic one. If they were planning with dates and signatures, I needed proof. And I wasn't going to warn them. Because when people think you're harmless, they stop guarding their words. And somewhere in this house, someone was already listening. It's safer if we control the accounts. She doesn't need access anymore. Morning light, coffee cups, normal voices, like they were discussing groceries. Renee said it first. Caleb didn't argue. I stood at the sink, rinsing a mug. I didn't turn around right away. Control the accounts, I asked. My voice sounded calmer than I felt. Renee smiled, the careful one. Not control, manage, Caleb added. Just temporarily. Temporarily for what? I said. To protect you, Renee said quickly. There's been fraud going around. On my account, I asked. She shook her head. No, but still. Caleb pulled out his phone. See, I already talked to the bank. That got my attention. You talked to my bank, he hesitated. Well, I asked some questions. What questions? Renee jumped in. About options, joint access, emergency permissions. I dried my hands slowly. Did you sign anything? I asked. Caleb looked at Renee. Renee looked back at him. No, she said. Nothing official. That word again. Official. The mail arrived while we were still standing there. Caleb grabbed it first, sorted through it like it was his. Anything for me? I asked. He glanced down. Just ads. I saw the envelope, bank logo, my name. I'll open it, I said. Caleb didn't hand it over. I'll put it with the rest. With the rest of what? Our documents, he said. I held out my hand. Give it to me. The room went quiet. Renee laughed softly. Why are you being tense? I want my mail, I said. Caleb sighed. Mom, relax, relax. That word again. I'm relaxed, I said. I'm asking. He gave me the envelope, slowly, like it was a test. I opened it right there. Account notification. Password reset request. Requested yesterday. I looked up. Who requested this? Caleb's face changed. Not guilt, not anger, annoyance. It was a mistake, he said. Renee shook her head. You're overthinking. I folded the letter, placed it on the table. Don't touch my accounts again, I said. Renee's smile dropped, just for a second. We're trying to help you, she said. By locking me out, I asked. Caleb raised his voice slightly. Lower your tone. That surprised me. I didn't raise it, I said. He exhaled. This is exactly what we were worried about. What? I asked. That I can read. Renee stood up. This conversation isn't productive. She picked up the letter, started walking away. I followed her. Put that down. She stopped, turned. Why are you acting like this? She asked. We live here too. That's my account, I said. My money. Caleb stepped between us. Enough. The word landed heavy. The kids came into the room then, backpacks still on. One of them looked at us. Are you fighting? No, Renee said quickly. We're talking. The child looked at me. You look upset. I'm okay, I said. Renee touched the child's shoulder. Go start your homework. They left. Caleb lowered his voice. Let's take a break. No, I said. Let's finish. Renee crossed her arms. What do you want? I want access, I said, to my money, my mail, my papers. Caleb rubbed his forehead. You don't need daily access. I stared at him. I raised you, I said. I don't need permission. He didn't answer. That night, I went to my room early. I locked the door. I checked my phone. 2 missed calls. Unknown number, then a voicemail. Hello, this is the bank confirming changes to your account access. Changes. I sat on the bed and listened again. They weren't asking me, they were informing me. The next morning, I called the bank myself. The woman on the line sounded confused. "Yes," she said, "your son called yesterday." I closed my eyes. "What did he ask for?" I said. She paused. "Full access. Emergency authorization." "And did you give it?" I asked. "No," she said. "We need you present." "Good." I thanked her and hung up. In the kitchen, Renee was humming. Caleb was scrolling his phone. I poured coffee. "Nothing is changing," I said. "Without me?" Caleb looked up. "We'll see." That was the moment I understood. They weren't testing me anymore. They were pushing. And the harder I resisted, the faster they were going to move. If a doctor says she's confused, this all gets a lot easier. That sentence didn't come from inside the house. It came from the phone. I was walking past the hallway when I heard Caleb's voice, low and careful. He was in the garage, door half open. The kind of half open that's meant to look accidental. "I'm serious," he said. "She's pushing back now." Pause. Then he said the part that settled in my chest like ice. "Yeah, a doctor's note would help. We just need something on record." Another pause. "No, not full guardianship yet," he said. "Just enough to move forward." Move forward where? I didn't hear the rest. I didn't need to. At breakfast, everything looked normal. That's how they always do it. Renee was cheerful, too cheerful. She slid a plate toward me. "You should eat more," she said. "You've been losing weight." "I eat when I'm hungry," I replied. Caleb glanced up from his phone. "You forget sometimes." "I don't forget," I said. Renee laughed lightly. "No one's accusing you. That's the trick. They don't accuse. They suggest." Later, Renee sat beside me on the couch, close enough that I could smell her perfume. "I made you an appointment," she said. "With who?" I asked. "A doctor, just a checkup." "I didn't ask for one." "It's routine," she replied. "Memory screening, blood work." Caleb leaned against the doorway, arms crossed. "It's nothing serious, Mom." "Then why didn't you tell me first?" I asked. Renee tilted her head. "You get anxious." "I get informed," I said. Her smile tightened. "This is exactly what we mean." "What do you mean?" I asked. Caleb answered this time. "You're defensive lately." "Because you're making decisions without me." Renee sighed. "We're worried." "About what?" I asked. She hesitated, just long enough to matter. "About decline." That word stayed in the air. "I pay my bills," I said. "I cook, I drive, I remember everything." Caleb nodded slowly. "But stress can mask things." "Mask what?" I asked. He didn't answer. From the dining table, Harper was sitting quietly. Homework open, phone face down. She hadn't said a word all morning, but she was listening. That afternoon, my daughter called. I almost didn't pick up. "You sound tired," she said. "I am," I replied. "Everything okay there?" I looked down the hallway. Renee was standing near the stairs, watching. "Yes," I said. "Everything's fine." After the call, Renee's voice sharpened. "You didn't need to bother her." "I didn't bother anyone." "She worries," Renee said, "and worry complicates things." "Complicates what?" The next morning, Renee reminded me about the appointment. "I'm not going," I said. Caleb set his coffee down harder than necessary. "You're going." I looked at him. That was new. I said no. Renee stepped in quickly. He didn't mean it like that. Yes, I did, Caleb said. This isn't optional. The room went quiet. I stood up. I'm not a child. Renee smiled again. No one said you were. Then stop treating me like one. Caleb exhaled sharply. This attitude is exactly why we're concerned. Concern. Always concern. The kids came in from the hallway. Mason asked, "Why are you mad at Grandma?" No one answered. Renee said too quickly, "No one's mad." Mason looked at me. "You're not sick, right?" I knelt down. "I'm not sick." Renee touched his shoulder. "Go play." Harper didn't move right away. She looked at me, then at her parents, then back at her phone. That afternoon, I found the appointment card. Neurology, not general medicine. Neurology. I stared at it for a long time before folding it and slipping it into my pocket. At dinner, I stayed quiet. I watched. I listened. Renee leaned toward Caleb and whispered, not low enough, "If she refuses, we still talk to the doctor." Caleb nodded. They don't need her there for a preliminary. That's when it finally clicked. This wasn't about my health. This was about paperwork. A record, a label, something they could hand to a bank and say, "She's declining." We had to step in. From the hallway, I heard Harper's door close. Not slam. Close. That night, I called someone I hadn't spoken to in years. My nephew. He answered on the second ring. "Aunt Evelyn," he said. "Everything okay?" I paused. "No," I said, "it's not." He didn't rush me, didn't interrupt. He just said, "Tell me." And for the first time in days, I felt something shift, because if they were building a medical story about me, I wasn't going to stand alone in it. And somewhere in that house, a 15-year-old girl was starting to understand that what her parents were calling help was actually a setup. "If she leaves the house, call me immediately." Renee said it calmly, not angry, not scared, like she was giving directions. I heard it through the half-open door while I was tying my shoes. She was on the phone. Caleb wasn't home yet. "She's restless," Renee continued. "Yeah, I think she's planning something." Planning. I stepped into the kitchen anyway. "I'm going to the store," I said. Renee turned too fast. "Oh, I can go for you." "I'm already dressed." She smiled. The polite one. "It's no trouble." "I need to go myself," I said. She paused, just a beat, then nodded. "Take your phone." "I always do." As I walked out, I noticed something new. Harper was sitting at the table. 15. Quiet, phone face down, watching everything. She didn't say a word, just looked at me like she was counting something. Outside, the air didn't feel free. It felt watched. At the store, my phone buzzed. Once, then again. "Renee." I didn't answer. I bought what I needed. Milk, bread, nothing else. No wandering, no talking. When I got back, Caleb's car was already there. He was waiting in the kitchen. "You didn't tell us you were leaving," he said. I said I was going to the store. "You left without confirming," he replied. "Confirming." "I don't need permission," I said. Renee stepped in quickly. "We were worried." "You called me 4 times," I said, "in 20 minutes. Caleb crossed his arms. "What if something happened?" "What if nothing did?" I asked. He didn't like that. That evening, my phone rang again. "Unknown number," I answered. "Mrs. Moore," a man said. This is adult services. We received a concern. A concern. About what? I asked. About your safety at home, he said, and your ability to manage independently. I looked at Renee. She was wiping the counter, already clean. Who called you? I asked. There was a pause. A family member. I'm safe, I said. May we schedule a visit? He asked. No, I said. You may not. After the call, I turned to Caleb. Did you do this? He didn't deny it. He shrugged. We had to, he said. You're not cooperating. Cooperating with what? I asked. With help, Renee said quickly. That's not help, I said. That's reporting me. Caleb raised his voice. Lower yours. I'm not yelling, I said. The kids walked in then. Mason asked, Why is Grandma in trouble? Renee dropped to her knees. No one's in trouble. I looked at him. I'm not in trouble. Harper didn't speak. She stood in the doorway, watching Caleb, watching Renee. That night, I locked my door. I checked my purse, my ID, my credit card. My checkbook was gone. I went to the kitchen. Where's my checkbook? I asked. Renee answered too fast. We put it away. Where? With the other important things. Give it back. Caleb shook his head. You don't need it right now. I need it now, I said. Renee stepped closer. You're upset. I'm focused, I said. Caleb laughed once. Short, sharp. This is exactly why we called, he said. That was the moment. Not fear, not anger, decision. The next morning, I packed a small bag, just clothes, nothing obvious. I waited until Renee went upstairs. Then I called my nephew. I need a ride, I said. When? He asked. Today. He didn't ask questions. I'm on my way. When his car pulled up, Renee saw it from the window. She ran outside. Where are you going? She asked. I'm leaving. Caleb came out behind her. You can't, he said. I can. This isn't safe, Renee said. For who? I asked. No answer. As I got into the car, Harper stepped onto the porch. She didn't look at her parents. She looked at me. Just for a second. Then she lifted her phone, not filming, not calling, like she was reminding herself of something. My nephew asked quietly, Are you okay? I will be, I said. As we drove away, my phone buzzed. A text from Renee. Please come back. We're just trying to help. I didn't reply. Because help doesn't come with surveillance, and concern doesn't come with deadlines. And somewhere behind us, a quiet teenager had just seen something she wouldn't forget. She took documents that aren't hers. Caleb didn't even say hello. We were halfway down the road when my nephew's phone rang. He glanced at the screen, jaw tightening. It's him, he said. Answer, I told him. Put it on speaker. He did. She took things that don't belong to her, Caleb said. Financial documents, property paperwork. My nephew stayed calm. Evelyn's documents belong to Evelyn. That's not the point, Caleb snapped. She's confused. I leaned forward. I know exactly what I took, I said. Silence. Then Renee's voice slipped in. Soft, controlled. We're worried about her safety. Then stop lying, my nephew said. Renee's tone sharpened. She needs to come back now. No, I said. She doesn't. Caleb's voice rose. You can't just take her away. She asked me to help, my nephew replied. The call ended. No goodbye. No warning. We drove the rest of the way in silence. When we reached my nephew's house, I locked the door, not out of fear, out of instinct. I opened my bag on the table, my ID, my bank card, my medical folder, and one thing I hadn't mentioned yet, the house deed copy, the one Renee said was misplaced. My nephew noticed it immediately. They were going after the house, he said quietly. Yes, I replied, and they were already moving. He looked at me. How far? Far enough to be nervous, I said. An hour later, my phone rang again. Unknown number. Mrs. Moore, a woman said. This is adult services following up. Following up on what? I asked. They reported you were taken, she said. Possibly disoriented. I left voluntarily, I replied. I'm safe. She paused. May we verify your location? Yes, I said. And you can speak to the person with me. My nephew explained calmly. The woman's voice changed immediately. Thank you. We'll note that. When the call ended, my nephew shook his head. They tried to file this as an incident. They're building a story, I said, one with deadlines. That evening, my daughter finally called. They told me you wandered off, she said. I didn't wander, I replied. I left. A long pause. Why didn't you tell me sooner? She asked. I thought keeping peace would keep things calm, I said. She exhaled. It never does. The next morning, my nephew made calls. A lawyer, a financial advisor. Nothing dramatic, just facts. When he hung up, he said, they accessed your mail. Tried changing account permissions. I nodded. They needed leverage. He continued, and someone applied for a home equity inquiry using your address. That stopped me. Inquiry, I asked. Yes, he said, not finalized, but recent. There it was, the rush, the pressure, the need to label me declining. By noon, Caleb texted, You've made this worse. I didn't reply. Renee followed. Please stop escalating this. Escalating. That afternoon, there was a knock. 2 officers. Calm, professional. Mrs. Moore, one asked. Yes. We received a welfare concern, he said. I'm fine, I replied. Did you leave on your own? Yes. Are you being held here? No, he nodded. The other officer turned to my nephew. Thank you for cooperating. They left. After the door closed, my nephew said, They really thought fear would pull you back. They underestimated something, I said. What? He asked. How long I've been paying attention. That night, I slept without locking my door. The next morning, I made a list. Not emotional, precise. What they touched, what they tried, who knew. And one more name went on that list, Harper, because before I left the house, she had slipped something into my coat pocket. A folded note. 3 words. They're lying. And that was when I understood something clearly. I hadn't just walked away from control. I had walked toward the truth. And someone inside that house was already helping me reach it. If she shows up here, don't let her in. Call us first. Renee didn't whisper it. She said it like instructions. I didn't hear it myself. The neighbor told me later. At the time, all I knew was my phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Texts, missed calls, voicemails. Caleb first. We need to talk. Then Renee. This has gone too far. Too far for who? That morning, my nephew drove me downtown. A small law office. Brass nameplate. Quiet chairs. The lawyer shook my hand and didn't rush me. Tell me what happened, she said. So I did. Mail opened. Accounts touched. Doctors contacted without me. Adult services called after I left. A home equity inquiry I never authorized. She didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said one sentence. They weren't helping you. They were positioning you. That's what it felt like, I said. She leaned back. Then we stop it. Cleanly, my nephew asked. How? First, she said, we freeze the ground they're standing on. Phones came out, screenshots, dates, voicemails, bank logs. Then she asked me something that mattered. Do you want to go back to that house right now? No, I said. Do you want your property, money, and records protected? Yes. She nodded once. Then we move before they do. While we were still there, my phone rang. Caleb, I answered. Why are you involving lawyers? He demanded. Because you involved banks, doctors, and the state, I said. Renee jumped on the call. You're making yourself look unstable, she said. That's funny, I replied. I feel clearer than I have in months. Caleb raised his voice. You can't just disappear. I didn't disappear, I said. I left. Renee cut in, sharper now. You're hurting the kids. That one landed. I'm not the one lying to them, I said. Silence. Then Caleb said it. We're filing paperwork. The lawyer leaned toward me and whispered, Let him talk. For what? I asked. To protect you, Caleb said. From what? I asked. Renee answered, too fast. From bad decisions, I smiled. That's rich. The call ended. The lawyer didn't sugarcoat it. They're testing guardianship language, she said. They want leverage before the loan window closes. Loan window. There it was again. That afternoon, something shifted. Not with them, with me. I stopped answering calls. Instead, I logged into every account. Passwords changed. Access revoked. Notifications turned on. My nephew watched. Are you sure you want to block them? He asked. Yes, I said, for now. That evening, the kids called. Only one spoke. Grandma, when are you coming home? I don't know yet, I said honestly. Dad says you're mad, they said. I'm not mad, I replied. I'm just safe. A pause. Can we still talk? They asked. Yes, I said. Always. After the call ended, my phone buzzed again. A message from the neighbor. Renee told me to call them if you come back. I stared at it. That wasn't concern. That was containment. The lawyer called that night. They contacted a neurologist, she said. Asked about records. Can they get them? I asked. No, she said, but they're laying groundwork. The next morning, a letter arrived. From Caleb. Formal. Cold. Measured. It said I wasn't welcome at the house until matters were resolved. It said all communication should go through them. My nephew let out a short laugh. They locked you out of your own home. Yes, I said. They did. He looked at me. What do you want to do next? I didn't answer right away. Then I said, I want my things back, and I want the truth recorded. Because if they thought leaving meant I'd fade out quietly, they misunderstood me. I wasn't running. I was regrouping. And somewhere back in that house, someone was watching them panic. Someone young, someone quiet, someone who had already seen too much. And soon, they were going to choose a side. Just get her to sign it once it's done. She can't undo it. Renee didn't know my phone was recording. She thought she was talking to Caleb alone. I was sitting at my nephew's kitchen table when we played it back. Coffee cold, morning quiet. My nephew stopped the audio halfway. "Did you hear that?" he asked. "I did," I said, "and now I know why they're rushing." This wasn't just paperwork. It was a home equity loan. Already started. Already pending. The house I lived in. The house Frank paid for. They'd used it as collateral. They didn't need me gone. They needed me legally quiet. That's why the doctor talk started. That's why the urgency. That's why Renee kept saying Thursday like it mattered. The lawyer called 10 minutes later. "They contacted another firm," she said, "asked if you'd already signed POA. "No," I said, "and I won't." "They're close to a deadline," she said. "That's why they're panicking." That afternoon, Caleb showed up, unannounced. My nephew opened the door. Caleb stood there with a thick folder. "I just want to talk to my mother," he said. "She's not seeing anyone without her lawyer," my nephew replied. Caleb raised his voice. "This is ridiculous." I stepped into the hallway. "Say what you came to say," I told him. He switched instantly. "Mom, you don't look well." "I look fine," I said. Renee stayed in the car, windows up, watching. Caleb held out the folder. "Just read this." "What is it?" I asked. "Temporary authority," he said. "So we can manage things until you're stable." "Stable? You mean until the loan clears?" I said. He froze. Just for a second. "You don't know what you're talking about," he said. "Then explain why the bank called me yesterday," I replied. Renee honked from the car. Sharp. Impatient. Caleb lowered his voice. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." "For who?" I asked. "For all of us," he said. I didn't take the folder. "I'll read anything my lawyer sends," I said. "Not this." His jaw tightened. "You're letting people turn you against us." "Who?" I asked. He didn't answer. Renee got out of the car. Smile already on. "You're embarrassing yourself," she said. "Neighbors are watching." "Good," I said. "Let them." Her smile dropped. "If you don't sign," she said quietly, "things get messy." That's when something happened I didn't see. Harper was standing just inside the house. Quiet, still, phone in her hand. Renee didn't notice. My nephew stepped forward. "Leave." Caleb looked at me one last time. "This isn't over," he said. "I know," I replied. "That's why I didn't sign." They left. That night, the lawyer sent me an email. Renee had contacted a clinic, used my name, asked about evaluations. Subject line, urgent timeline matters. The lawyer called immediately. "They're overreaching," she said, "and documenting it for us." The next morning, the bank called. Attempted access. Denied. Renee's name. That system worked because we moved first. Later that day, the kids called, both on speaker. "Dad says you don't want us anymore." "That's not true," I said. "I want you very much." "Then why can't we see you?" "Because adults are making bad choices," I said, "and I won't let you be used to fix them." Silence, then one quiet voice. "Can we still call you?" "Yes," I said, "anytime." After the call, my nephew said it out loud. "They're using the kids." "Yes," I replied, "and they don't know one of them is listening." That night, I signed something, not their papers. Instructions. Access revoked. Boundaries formalized. And one more thing. A request to retrieve my belongings with an officer present. Because pressure didn't break me, it exposed them, and somewhere in that house, a 15-year-old girl had just recorded the sentence that was going to change everything. Get the important stuff out tonight. She's turning on us. That message wasn't meant for me. Caleb sent it to Renee. I didn't see it then, but Harper did. That evening, my nephew's phone rang while we were eating dinner. He checked the screen, didn't answer. Then it rang again. Same number. This is them, he said. Let it go to voicemail, I replied. It did. A minute later, a text came through. She's not thinking clearly. We're coming to get her things. I didn't raise my voice. Get my things, I said, from my house. My nephew stood up. They don't have the right. I know, I said, but they won't stop themselves. The lawyer answered when we called. They have no permission, she said, but this is escalation. So what do we do? My nephew asked. We go now, she replied, with an officer and documentation. When we pulled up to my house, a patrol car was already there. The officer stepped out with a clipboard. You're the homeowner, he asked. Yes, I said. Anyone else authorized to remove property? He asked. No, I replied. He nodded once. Let's take a look. The house felt wrong the moment I walked in. Not broken, not destroyed, handled. Drawers slightly open. Closet door off its track. The quiet kind of violation the officer noticed. Someone's been here recently, he said. Yes, I replied. They didn't expect me back. In the bedroom, my jewelry box was lighter. I didn't speak. I pointed. He wrote it down. In the office, my filing cabinet was open. Folders shifted. One missing. What was in this one? He asked. I swallowed. Property records, I said. Loan history. Frank's paperwork. Everything that proves ownership. My nephew's phone buzzed. He looked at it, then at me. They're outside. I didn't turn around. The officer did. Caleb and Renee were standing on the porch. Renee waved. Too casual. Caleb tried to smile. The officer stepped outside to speak with them. The door wasn't fully closed. We heard enough. This is her residence. No, you don't have permission. You need to leave. Caleb's voice rose. She's being manipulated. Renee added, quick and sharp. She's not mentally stable. We're trying to protect her assets. Protect. The officer's voice stayed even. Leave the property. Now, the door shut. I sat down then, not because I was weak, because my legs finally let go. We gathered what was left. Clothes, photos, documents they hadn't reached yet. As we were leaving, the officer handed me a card. If they return, he said, call immediately. That night, Renee posted online. Nothing direct, just a soft paragraph about loving someone who refuses help. Comments flooded in. So brave, so hard, praying for your family. I didn't respond. Harper messaged me later, from a number I didn't recognize. Grandma, are you safe? I stared at the screen. Yes, I typed back. Are you? A long pause. Then I recorded something. I didn't know who to tell. My hands went cold. What did you record? I asked. Her reply came slower. Mom said if you don't sign, they'll say you're unstable. Dad said the loan clears Friday. They said I'd have to back them up. I didn't reply right away. Then I typed one line. You did the right thing. The lawyer called that night. They They filed for an emergency hearing, she said. Guardianship request. Claimed urgency. When? I asked. 3 days, she replied. I closed my eyes. They think speed will save them, she said. It won't, I replied, because they weren't just fighting me anymore. They were racing against a recording. And they didn't know who had it yet. But they were about to find out. Once the court steps in, she won't get her life back. That sentence didn't come from a conversation. It came from a voicemail. Caleb left it for his lawyer. Not me, not Renee. His lawyer forwarded it to mine. My attorney played it for me the night before the hearing. No commentary, no drama, just his voice. Calm, certain. When it ended, she didn't rush to explain. She just said, "This matters." For them, I asked. For us, she replied. It tells the judge what this is really about. Control. They didn't ask for time. They asked for power. That's why the hearing came so fast. Emergency guardianship. Not next month. Not after evaluations. 3 days. Speed was the plan. That night my phone rang. Caleb, I almost didn't answer. But I did. Mom, he said, softer than before. Almost tired. Why are you doing this? Doing what? I asked. Dragging this into court, he said, making it official. I kept my voice even. You filed the hearing, I said. Not me. Renee's voice slid into the call. You're making yourself look unstable, she said. There it was again. I paused. Then I said, that's the story you're hoping the judge believes. Silence. Caleb cleared his throat. We just want control until things settle. Control of what? I asked. He didn't answer. So I did. My money, my house, my decisions. Renee snapped. You're twisting this. No, I said, you're rushing it. Caleb exhaled sharply. If the judge agrees with us, he said, this all ends. I replied, calm and clear. Yes, it does. He hung up. That night, my lawyer went over everything again. What they would say, what we would show. They'll lean hard on concern, she said. Memory, stress, vulnerability. And us? I asked. We lean on facts, she replied. Timeline, access attempts, voicemails, she paused. And something else. What? I asked. Intent, she said. Why now? Why fast? The morning of court felt quiet, not peaceful, focused. We walked in without speaking. Caleb and Renee were already seated. They looked prepared. Renee had papers neatly stacked. Caleb held his hands together like he was bracing. They didn't look at me. My lawyer leaned close. They're going to say you can't manage finances, she whispered. That you're declining. I nodded. I'm ready. The judge entered. Everyone stood, then sat. Caleb's lawyer spoke first. Concern, fear, urgency. She's confused, he said. She left home suddenly. She's being influenced. Renee nodded along. The judge turned to me. Mrs. Moore, he said, do you understand why we're here? Yes, I replied. My son wants legal control over my life. Caleb flinched. That's not, his lawyer started. The judge held up a hand. My lawyer stood. Your Honor, she said, before we proceed, we'd like to address motive. Caleb looked up then. Renee stiffened. My lawyer continued. This request wasn't about safety. It was about timing. She handed something forward. A voicemail, she said, left by Mr. Moore. The judge nodded. Play it. Caleb's voice filled the room. Once the court steps in, she won't get her life back. Silence. No gasps. No reactions. Just quiet. The judge looked at Caleb. "Mr. Moore," he said, "explain that statement." Caleb opened his mouth, closed it. Renee leaned toward him. He didn't speak. My lawyer didn't press yet. She let it hang. Because the point wasn't punishment, it was exposure. The judge leaned back. "We'll continue," he said. "But this court does not grant emergency control lightly." He looked directly at me. "Mrs. Moore, you're here. You're clear. You're represented." Then he looked back at them. "And I will need more than urgency." As we left the room for a short recess, my phone buzzed. A text from Harper. "I can't do this anymore. I have proof." I didn't open it. Not yet. But I knew this wasn't just about whether the judge believed them. It was about what would happen when the truth finally spoke in the voice they never expected. "She's not dangerous. She's confused." That's the story. That's what Renee said on a call she didn't know was overheard. Not by me. By someone who didn't like what they heard. My lawyer called right after. "They're pivoting," she said. "Court didn't hand them control, so now they're working the outside." "Outside how?" I asked. "People," she replied. "Friends, family, institutions. Anywhere doubt spreads faster than facts." I didn't have to wait long to see it. That afternoon, my phone lit up. Unknown numbers. Old names I hadn't seen in years. One message said, "Are you okay?" Another said, "Renee told me you stopped taking medication." Medication. I stared at the screen. Then I called my daughter. She answered quickly. Too quickly. "Mom," she said, "what's happening?" "Tell me exactly what Caleb said," I replied. She hesitated, then sighed. "He said you were refusing help," she said, "that you're pushing everyone away." "Did he say why?" I asked. "No," she admitted, and that bothered me. That evening, there was a knock at the door. Not police this time. County workers. Badges visible. Calm voices. "Mrs. Moore," one said, "we're here for a wellness check." I nodded. "Come in." They asked questions. Was I eating, sleeping, paying bills? I answered. They looked around. No chaos. No confusion. Files locked. Notes organized. One of them glanced at the other. "You seem very capable," she said. "Thank you," I replied. After they left, my nephew shut the door slowly. "They're trying to make it official," he said. "Without court." "Yes," I said. "They're testing which doors still open." That night, the kids called, whispering. "Dad's mad," one of them said. "Why?" I asked. "He says you're telling lies about him." I took a breath. "I'm telling the truth," I said, "and that feels like lying to people who don't want it." There was a pause, then a quieter voice. "Mom said you're sick." "No," I said, "I'm not." Another pause, then something different. "Grandma," the older one said carefully. "They talk about you when they think we can't hear." I sat up straighter. "What do they say?" I asked. Another pause. Then, that if this works, everything gets easier. "What does this mean?" I asked. Silence. "I don't know," the child said, "but they sound scared." After the call, I didn't cry. I felt something else. A shift. The next morning, my lawyer forwarded an email. Renee had contacted my church, used words like decline and concern. The pastor called me himself. I wanted to hear your voice, he said. Thank you, I replied. That matters. By noon, my lawyer filed a formal notice. Cease and desist. No more statements. No more third-party pressure. Caleb texted once. You're poisoning everyone against us. I wrote back. No, I'm removing your ability to do that to me. He didn't reply. But an hour later, my bank called again. Attempted inquiry. Blocked. Same name. Renee. That evening, my daughter called. I booked a flight, she said. I need to see this myself. Yes, I replied. So do I. Before bed, my nephew asked. Do you think they'll stop? No, I said, but I think they'll get sloppy. Because when people lose control in private, they try to win in public. And when that doesn't work, they start saying things they shouldn't. Things that get overheard. Things that get remembered. And sometimes, things that get recorded. If she keeps talking to them, they'll stop listening to us. That line didn't come from a conversation. It came from a text. Renee sent it to Caleb. I didn't see it that day, but someone else did. Before that, everything went quiet. No calls, no angry messages, no sudden concern, just silence. And by then, I knew silence meant planning. That afternoon, my daughter arrived. She hugged me the moment she stepped inside, longer than usual. You look normal, she said carefully. I am, I replied. That's the problem. We sat at the table. I didn't overwhelm her, just told her the order of things. Doctor calls I didn't request. Mail opened, accounts touched, reports filed after I left. She listened, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said quietly, they told me you were forgetting names. I nodded once. I forget where I put my glasses, I said. I don't forget who my children are. Her shoulders dropped. Okay, she said. I believe you. That night, the kids called. Only one spoke at first. Dad says we're not allowed to see you anymore. I closed my eyes briefly. Did he say why? I asked. They said it's not safe. Safe from what? I asked. Long pause. Then, softer, you. I didn't rush my answer. That's not true, I said. And you know me. Another pause. We miss you, the voice said. I miss you too, I replied. And I'm not disappearing. The call ended suddenly. My daughter looked at me. They're using the kids, she said. Yes, I replied. And they're getting desperate. The next morning, my lawyer called. They filed something new, she said, requesting limits on your contact with the children. For what reason? I asked. Emotional instability, she replied. She claims you're confusing them. My daughter stood up. That's a lie. Yes, the lawyer said calmly, and the judge will see that. That afternoon, we were back at the courthouse. Different room, same tension. Renee spoke first. She talks to them about adult issues, Renee said. They come home upset. The judge looked at me. Are you discouraging the children from seeing their parents? He asked. No, I replied. I tell them I love them, and I tell them I'm okay. The judge nodded slowly. That's not interference, he said. Request denied. Outside, Renee lost control. You're turning them against us, she snapped. I'm not, I replied. I stopped lying to them. Caleb finally spoke. You always do this, he said. You make things harder. I looked at him. No, I said. I stopped making things easy for you. That night, something changed. The kids called again. This time, both were on the line. Grandma, the older one, said carefully, "Can I ask you something?" "Yes," I replied. "When Mom and Dad talk about you," she said, "why do they whisper?" My stomach tightened. "What do they say?" I asked. Another pause. "They say if you don't sign, everything falls apart." I didn't answer right away. Then I said, "Thank you for telling me." After the call, my nephew looked at me. "They're involving the kids more," he said. "Yes," I replied, "and that's dangerous." Later that night, my phone buzzed. A message from the older child. Just one line. "Grandma, I recorded something." I didn't know what else to do. I stared at the screen. Didn't reply yet, because this wasn't just about control anymore. They weren't just trying to take from me. They were teaching a child to lie for them. And that was something I wouldn't allow. Not quietly, not politely, and not without consequences. Why is she acting like she gets a say in this? Renee didn't whisper that. She said it out loud, in a room with witnesses. I didn't hear it myself. I got the call an hour later. I was folding laundry when the school counselor's name came up on my phone. "Mrs. Moore," she said carefully, "I wanted to inform you about a meeting that happened today." My hands stopped. "What kind of meeting?" I asked. "A family meeting," she said, "about upcoming changes." "Who requested it?" I asked. There was a pause. "The children's parents." "Of course." She continued, slower now. "They expressed concerns about your influence on the children." "My influence," I repeated. "They said the children seem confused," she explained. "Pulled in different directions." I sat down. "Did anyone ask the children how they felt?" I asked. Another pause. Longer this time. "Yes," she said, "and that's actually why I'm calling you." That tightened something in my chest. "What did they say?" I asked. "They said you listen," she replied. "They said you don't tell them what to believe." I closed my eyes briefly. "Thank you," I said, "for calling me." After I hung up, my daughter shook her head. "They went to the school," she said. "That's a new low." "Yes," I replied, "and it tells me something." "What?" she asked. "They're running out of places where they control the room." That night, Caleb finally called. No greeting, no patience. "Why are you involving the school?" he snapped. "I didn't," I said. "You did." "They don't need you confusing them," he said. "I didn't confuse anyone," I replied. I answered the phone. Renee took over. "You don't respect boundaries," she said sharply. "I respect real ones," I replied, "not the ones you invent after the fact." She scoffed. "You're not their parent." "No," I said, "but I'm not a stranger either." Caleb cut back in. "This ends now," he said. "You're not welcome at school events." I laughed once. "Quiet. You don't get to decide that," I said. He hung up. 10 minutes later, my lawyer called. "They tried to frame you as destabilizing," she said. "And?" I asked. "And the counselor documented everything," she replied. Exact words, exact tone. That mattered. That night, one of the kids called, voice low. "Grandma," they said, "Mom says you don't love us enough to listen." That one hurt, but I didn't rush it. "I love you enough to tell the truth," I said, "and enough to let you think for yourself." There was a pause. "Are we in trouble?" they asked. "No," I said. "You're just being asked to carry things that aren't yours." Another pause. I don't like being in the middle, they said. I know, I replied, and I'm working to get you out of it. The next morning, I made a decision. I stopped reacting. No more late-night explanations. No more defending my existence. Instead, my lawyer filed something precise: clear visitation terms, clear communication boundaries, no gray areas. Caleb sent one last message that day. You're tearing this family apart. I replied once. You did that when control mattered more than honesty. He didn't respond. That afternoon, the school counselor emailed again. She thanked me for staying calm, for staying consistent. She said the children felt safer when adults didn't pull them in opposite directions. That's when it clicked. This was never about rights. It was about presence. And no matter how many rooms Renee spoke in, no matter how many labels they tried to attach to me, I was still there, still answering the phone, still listening, still someone the children trusted, and that scared them more than any lawyer ever could. Module 14. She's teaching them to disobey us. If she keeps talking to them, they won't listen to us anymore. That's what Renee said during mediation. Not emotional, not shaken, annoyed, like the kids were a device that stopped responding. I didn't hear it live. My lawyer did. Her phone buzzed while we were sitting together that morning. She read the message once, then again. They requested mediation, she said. For what? I asked. She exhaled. About the children. Their words, to restore parental authority. That told me everything. This wasn't about concern. It was about obedience. That afternoon, Caleb called, straight to the point. You need to stop, he said. Stop what? I asked. Undermining us. I answer when they call, I said. That's not undermining. Renee jumped in immediately. You question our rules, she snapped. I ask how they feel, I replied. That's the problem, she said. They don't need feelings. They need structure. I looked at my lawyer. She nodded slightly. Then we'll do this with witnesses, I said. The mediation was set 2 days later. Neutral office. Round table. Tissues placed like decoration. The mediator smiled too much. We're here to find common ground, she said. Renee went first. The kids come home anxious, she said. They challenge us. They talk back. The mediator turned to me. What do you say to that? She asked. I say they ask questions, I replied. And questions aren't disobedience. Caleb leaned forward. They don't need your opinions, he said. You're confusing them. I tell them I love them, I said. That's not confusing. Renee scoffed. You make us look cruel. The mediator raised a hand. Let's stay calm. Then she asked a question that shifted the room. Have the children expressed fear of their grandmother? Renee answered too fast. No, but Caleb cut in. They're being influenced. The mediator looked down at her notes. Because according to the school counselor, she said, they've said the opposite. Silence. Renee shifted in her chair. They don't know what's best for them, she said. I leaned forward. That's exactly what you said about me, I replied. Caleb snapped. This isn't about you. It always was, I said quietly. The mediator closed her notebook. I'm hearing concern, she said, but I'm not hearing evidence of harm. Renee crossed her arms. So she just gets access, she demanded. No, the mediator replied. She gets consistency. After the meeting, Renee followed me into the hallway. Her voice dropped. "You're enjoying this," she said. "No," I replied. "I'm surviving it." She leaned closer. "You think the kids will choose you?" "I think they'll choose honesty," I said. She laughed. Short, sharp. "Kids don't choose," she said. "They're taught." "Exactly," I replied. That evening, the kids called, both on the line. "Grandma," one said, "Mom says you're mad at her." "I'm not mad," I replied. "I'm clear." "Dad says you don't respect rules," the other added. "I respect rules that keep people safe," I said, "not rules that keep people quiet." There was a pause. Then the older one asked something different. "Can we still tell you things?" "Yes," I said, "always." The call ended gently, but 10 minutes later, my lawyer called. "They filed another complaint," she said. "For what?" I asked. "Parental alienation." I laughed once. "They really don't know when to stop." "No," she said, "and that's the problem." The next morning, the mediator emailed guidance. No ruling, just clarity. She wrote that children benefit from multiple safe adults, that cutting off support increases anxiety, that listening is not manipulation. Renee replied within minutes. "This is inappropriate." Caleb added, "We're being undermined." The mediator didn't respond. She closed the file. That afternoon, my daughter said something I won't forget. "They don't know how to compete with calm," she said. She was right. Yelling didn't work. Fear didn't work. Control didn't work. So now they were calling love a threat. And when adults do that, children start watching more closely, listening more carefully. And sometimes they start pressing record. Module 15. She's poisoning them against their own parents. If this keeps up, they're going to choose her over us. That wasn't a threat. That was fear. Caleb said it during a call with his sister. My daughter heard every word. She called me right after. "Mom," she said, "they're scared." "I know," I replied, "and scared people rush." That same afternoon, the school called again. Different voice, different tone. "We need to inform you," the administrator said, "that the children were picked up early today." "By who?" I asked. "Their parents," she replied. "They said it was urgent." My chest tightened. "Did something happen?" I asked. "No," she said, "but the children were visibly upset." I called the kids. No answer. I called again. Straight to voicemail. I called my lawyer. She answered immediately. "They're creating a scene," she said. "Pulled from school. High emotion. No paper trail." "For what?" I asked. "Leverage," she replied. "They want something dramatic to point to." That evening, Caleb showed up at my nephew's house. Renee was with him. No smiles. No pretending. Renee spoke first. "We're done letting this continue." "Letting what?" I asked. "You confusing our children," she snapped. My daughter stepped forward calmly. "Back up," she said. Renee scoffed. "This doesn't involve you." "It does now," my daughter replied. Caleb turned to me. "You have to choose," he said. "Choose what?" I asked. "Us," he said, "or them." I didn't hesitate. "I choose the kids," I said. Renee laughed, sharp, bitter. "That's exactly what I mean," she said. "You're positioning yourself as the safe one." "I am safe," I replied. "You're the ones yelling." Caleb's voice cracked. "You're turning them against us." "No," I said. "I'm refusing to lie to them." My lawyer arrived then. Perfect timing. This conversation is over, she said. Renee waved a folder. We're filing tonight, she said. Emergency custody limitations. My lawyer didn't blink. On what grounds? She asked. Renee opened the folder. Parental alienation, she said, undermining authority. My lawyer nodded. And will submit documentation, she replied, of false reports, blocked access, and intimidation. Caleb rubbed his face. You're tearing this family apart, he said. I looked at him. No, I said quietly. I stopped pretending nothing was wrong. Then something happened that none of us planned. One of the kids came out of the hallway, eyes wide, voice shaking. Stop yelling, they said. The room froze. The child looked at me. Grandma, can we stay with you tonight? Renee snapped instantly. No. The child flinched. I knelt down. You don't have to choose, I said gently. This is not your job. Caleb stared at the floor. Renee's face hardened. This proves it, she said. She's manipulating them. The child looked confused. I just asked, they said. My lawyer stepped between us. We're done, she said. Caleb and Renee left. Doors slammed. Engines revved. That night, the kids called, whispering. Mom says we're not allowed to talk to you, one said. I know, I replied. But you didn't do anything wrong. Are you mad? They asked. No, I said, I'm steady. A pause. Then, the quietest sentence of the night. We feel safe with you. I closed my eyes. Thank you for telling me, I said. After the call, my daughter sat beside me. They're losing control, she said. Yes, I replied, and that's when people make mistakes. My lawyer texted later. Emergency filing received. Weak, emotional, no evidence. I replied once, I'm ready. Because when people call love poison, they're admitting something important. They're afraid of what happens when children are allowed to see clearly. And tomorrow, that fear was going to push them one step too far. If we make her look unstable, the rest won't matter. Renee didn't whisper that. She typed it, and she sent it herself. Not to me, to my lawyer. She forwarded the message like it proved something, like it showed concern. My lawyer read it to me the next morning. Slowly, exactly as written. Then she said, she thought this helped them. I nodded. It tells the truth instead. Because that sentence wasn't worry, it was strategy. By noon, the pattern was obvious. My phone started ringing again. Neighbors I barely spoke to. Church friends I hadn't seen in years. One said, Renee mentioned you're having a difficult time. Another asked, are you getting help? I kept my voice polite. I'm fine, I said. Thank you for checking. Then I stopped answering. That afternoon, something else happened. My doctor's office called. We received a request for your records, the nurse said carefully. From who? I asked. There was a pause. Your daughter-in-law. That's not authorized, I said. It was denied, she replied. But we wanted you to know. 5 minutes later, my lawyer called. They're building a medical narrative now, she said. It won't hold, but it shows desperation. That evening, a certified letter arrived. New attorney. Very polite language. It suggested I submit to a mental evaluation to clear misunderstandings. I read it twice, then handed it to my daughter. They're escalating, she said. No, I replied. They're cornered. The next morning, my lawyer laid everything out. The message Renee sent, she said. The calls, the medical request, the letter. She tapped the table. This isn't about your health, she said. It's about timing. Timing for what? I asked. She looked at me. A financial move, she said. Something pending. That's when she told me what they'd found. A loan inquiry. Using my property, not finalized, but started. They hadn't just wanted control. They needed it fast, because once money moved, questions would follow. That afternoon, Caleb showed up alone. No Renee, no paperwork, just him. You're making this worse, he said. You sent the message, I replied. He rubbed his face. She didn't mean it like that. Then why write it? I asked. He didn't answer. If you just do the evaluation, he said, this all settles. I shook my head. No, I said. And here's why. He looked up. Because once you let someone question your mind, I continued, they never stop. They just change the reason. His jaw tightened. You're forcing us, he said. No, I replied. You're choosing shortcuts. He left without another word. That night, my phone buzzed. Not Caleb, not Renee. One of the kids, the older one. Grandma, the message said. I need to tell you something. I called back immediately. Their voice was shaking. I heard them talking. They said, about you. What did they say? I asked. Another pause. They said once the loan goes through, it won't matter what you say. My hand tightened around the phone. What loan? I asked. Silence. Then quietly, I recorded it. My heart stopped for a second. You what? I asked. They said I had to help, the child whispered. Say you forget things, that you're not safe. I took a breath. You did the right thing, I said. You're not in trouble. I didn't want to, they said, but I didn't know what else to do. After the call, I sat very still. Then I texted my lawyer one sentence. We have a recording from the child. She called immediately. Do not delete anything, she said. This changes everything. That was the moment I knew. They weren't just calling me unstable anymore. They were asking a child to lie for them. And that meant this was no longer just about me. It was about protecting someone who didn't have power and was being taught to use fear instead of truth. And when this went back to court, it wouldn't be my voice that ended their story. It would be the one they never thought would speak. If she can't remember clearly, none of this matters. That's what Renee said to her attorney. Not emotional, not angry, strategic. My lawyer heard it during a call that was supposed to be routine. She called me the moment it ended. They're anchoring everything to memory now, she said. Forgetfulness, confusion, small slips. I laughed once. I forget where I put my glasses, I said. I don't forget who's lying. That afternoon, a clinic called. Polite voice, careful words. We were asked to schedule a cognitive screening for you, the woman said. By who? I asked. She hesitated. Your family. Which family? I asked. Longer pause. Your son and daughter-in-law. I didn't consent, I said. We know, she replied. That's why we're calling you directly. I thanked her and hung up. Then I called Caleb. He answered immediately. Why are you booking medical appointments for me? I asked. He sighed like I was exhausting. We're trying to help. By testing my mind, I said. By protecting everyone, he replied. From what? I asked. Silence. Renee took over. You forgot your debit card last month, she said. You missed an appointment. I rescheduled, I replied. And you took the card, she snapped. You're twisting things. No, I said. I'm remembering them. That night, my lawyer sent me a timeline. Dates, calls, messages. Every expression of concern lined up perfectly with moments they lost access. She wrote one line under it. Pattern matters. The next morning, something arrived that made it real. A letter from the court. Mandatory appearance. Not guardianship, not emergency. A capacity review. I read it slowly. My daughter watched my face. Are you scared? She asked. No, I replied. I'm offended. We met the lawyer again that afternoon. She didn't panic. This is common, she said, and very beatable. How? My daughter asked. With consistency, she replied, and witnesses who aren't related. That same day, 3 calls came in. My bank manager, my doctor, my neighbor. All asked the same question. Are you being pressured? Yes, I said, by people calling it concern. Each one documented it. That evening, Caleb came by again. No anger this time, just tired. Why won't you just do the test? He asked. Because it won't end there, I replied. He shook his head. You're making yourself look worse. I leaned forward. You're making yourself look cruel. He stood. If the judge orders it, he said, you won't have a choice. Then let the judge ask me, I replied. Not you, he left. Later that night, the kids called. Dad was quiet. Mom was angry. Mom says you don't remember things, one said. I remember you, I replied. And that's enough. A pause. Then the other voice. Grandma, are you scared? No, I said, I'm steady. That night, my lawyer sent one final message. Tomorrow is the review, I replied. I'll be there. Because forgetting small things is human, but pretending someone's mind is gone so you can take their life apart, that isn't care. That's theft. And tomorrow, they'd have to explain the difference to someone who wasn't listening to fear anymore. If the evaluation says she's impaired, we can finally move forward. Renee said that outside the courthouse. She didn't know a clerk was standing close enough to hear it. And she didn't know that clerk would mention it to my lawyer. The review was scheduled for that morning. No audience, no speeches, just a small room, a judge, and a stack of papers. Caleb sat beside Renee, both of them quiet now, not confident, not calm, focused. The judge opened the file. Mrs. Moore, he said, your family has requested a capacity review. Yes, I replied. Do you understand why? He asked. Yes, I said. They want control. Renee reacted fast. That's not fair, she said. We're worried about her. The judge looked at her. Concern usually comes with evidence, he said. Do you have any? Caleb leaned forward. She forgets things, he said. She misses appointments. My lawyer stood immediately. She rescheduled one, she said. And here's documentation. She placed it in front of the judge. He glanced at it and nodded. Renee tried again. She left her home, she said. She abandoned it. I left because you locked me out, I replied. The room went still. The judge looked up. Locked her out, he asked. Renee hesitated. We changed the code, she said, for safety. Without her consent, he asked. Yes, she admitted. The judge wrote something down. Then he turned to me. He didn't rush. didn't intimidate. "What's today's date?" he asked. I answered. "Where do you live?" he asked. I answered. "How do you pay your bills?" he continued. I explained. He asked about my bank accounts, my medications, my relationships. I answered everything plainly. No emotion, no performance, just facts. After a few minutes, he leaned back. "I don't see impairment," he said. "I see conflict." Renee's jaw tightened. Caleb stared at the table. The judge continued. "This court will not order a medical evaluation," he said, "and it will not restrict Mrs. Moore's autonomy." Renee snapped. "So she just walks away." The judge looked directly at her. "She never lost the right to walk," he said. That was it. Outside the room, Renee finally let it out. "You embarrassed us," she said. My lawyer answered before I could. "You embarrassed yourselves." Caleb didn't say a word. He just walked ahead. That afternoon, the kids called. Dad was quiet. Mom was slamming doors. "Are you okay?" they asked. "Yes," I replied. "And so are you." One of them whispered, "Mom's really mad." "I know," I said, "but anger doesn't make someone right." Later, my lawyer called again. "They don't have legal leverage anymore," she said. "So what happens now?" I asked. She paused. "People who lose control usually do one of two things," she said. "They stop, or they expose themselves." That evening, I went back to my house. Not to move in, just to stand there. The lock had been changed back. My name was still on the deed. Everything was quiet. My daughter stood beside me. "You won," she said. "No," I replied. "I survived." As we walked away, my phone buzzed. A message from Renee. "This isn't over." I didn't reply, because when threats come after a loss, it isn't strength speaking. It's panic. And panic makes people careless, which meant the truth wasn't finished yet. Not even close. She doesn't get access anymore. Tell the school she's not allowed. Renee said it like an order. She didn't know the call was on speaker. The school secretary heard it. The counselor heard it. And 5 minutes later, my lawyer heard it too. I was in the kitchen when my lawyer called. "They tried to block you again," she said. "Emergency instructions. No paperwork." "So pressure," I replied. "Yes," she said. And this time it backfired. That afternoon, the school called me directly. "We didn't follow their request," the counselor said. "It didn't make sense." "Thank you," I replied. She hesitated. "The kids asked for you," she added. That still landed hard. Later that day, Caleb called. "No yelling. No pretending. You need to back off," he said. "From what?" I asked. "From them," he replied. "You mean the kids," I said. "They're ours," he snapped. "They're people," I replied. Renee took the phone. "You're dividing them," she said. "They don't need mixed loyalties. They need stability," I replied. "And you keep shifting the rules." She scoffed. "You think you won." "I think the judge spoke," I said. "That was about you," she replied. "This is about them." I paused. "You're using the kids to punish me," I said. She didn't deny it. That evening, something happened I didn't expect. The kids showed up at my door, together. No warning. Caleb sat in the car, engine running. Renee stayed inside. The kids stood there unsure. "We just wanted to see you," one said. "Just for a minute," the other added. I stepped aside. "Come in," I said. They sat on the couch, same place as always, quiet. Then one of them said, "Mom says you're the reason everything is bad." I nodded slowly. "That's a heavy thing to carry," I said. "Is it true?" they asked. "No," I replied. "But it's easier to blame one person than fix a problem." The door opened hard. Renee stood there. I said 5 minutes, she snapped. "It hasn't been 5, one child said. She glared at me. "You don't get to talk like that," she said. "I didn't tell them what to say," I replied. Caleb appeared behind her. "This is enough," he said. One of the kids stood up. "I don't like when you talk to Grandma like that." Everything froze. Renee's face changed. "Get your shoes," she said sharply. The kids looked at me. I kept my voice steady. "You didn't do anything wrong," I said. They left. The door slammed. The car peeled away. 10 minutes later, my lawyer called. "They just handed us witnesses," she said. "How?" I asked. "The school documented the call," she replied, "and what just happened here was seen." That night, my daughter sat beside me. "They don't see it, do they?" she asked. "They do," I replied. "They just don't care." Before bed, my phone buzzed. A text from Caleb. "You've pushed us too far." I typed one line. "You crossed the line first." No reply came back. Because when control fails, people reach for punishment. And when punishment fails, they reach for lies. But tomorrow, those lies were going to meet daylight, and daylight doesn't negotiate. Lock the accounts. If she has nothing, she'll stop. That's what Renee said. She didn't whisper it. She didn't hesitate. And this time, she didn't know someone was listening, because the call she made right after that was the one that finally ended everything. Not because of the bank, because of Harper. It was late afternoon when my phone rang. "Mrs. Moore," the bank manager said, "careful now. Someone attempted to freeze your accounts." I didn't ask why. "Who?" I said. He answered immediately. "Your daughter-in-law." I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I said, "Please hold." I called my lawyer. She picked up on the first ring. "They crossed into fraud," she said, "and the bank documented it." But before she could say anything else, my other phone buzzed. A text. From a number I didn't recognize. Just one line. "Grandma, I recorded something. I'm scared." My heart dropped. I called immediately. "Harper," I said. Her voice came out small. "I didn't know what to do," she whispered. "They were yelling. They didn't see me." "Slow down," I said. "You're safe. Just tell me what happened." She took a breath. "They were talking about the loan," she said. "The one on your house." The room went very quiet. "What loan?" I asked. "The home equity one," she said. "They said once it cleared, they'd be done struggling." I felt my hands go cold. Then she said the part I will never forget. "Renee said if you didn't sign, they'd say you're unstable. And she told me I'd have to say you forget things." I didn't speak. "I told her I didn't want to," Harper whispered. "And she said families do hard things for survival." I swallowed. "And I recorded it," Harper said. "I didn't mean to. I needed proof." "You did the right thing," I said immediately. "You hear me. You did nothing wrong." She started crying. "I don't want to lie," she said. "I don't want to be part of this." "You won't be," I said. "I promise." Within an hour, everything moved. Not loud, not dramatic, precise. The recording went to my lawyer. The bank froze their access instead. The attempted account lock became evidence. Then the police called, not accusatory, just factual. Did you authorize this? No. Were you pressured? Yes. Do you have documentation? Yes. That evening, Caleb showed up. No folder this time. No speeches. Just tired. You didn't have to go this far, he said. I looked at him. You already did, I replied. Renee stood behind him. Silent. Pale. They're investigating, Caleb said. Yes, I replied, because actions have consequences. Renee finally spoke. You're destroying this family, she said. I looked past her. At Harper, sitting in the car, watching. No, I said calmly. I just stopped letting you sacrifice children to fix adult mistakes. 2 days later, the lawyer finalized everything. The fraud attempt, the loan application, the recording, and one more thing. In court, when Harper was asked if she felt pressured, I stood up before anyone else could speak. I looked straight at her and said, You are not in trouble. You do not owe adults lies, and you will not be punished for telling the truth. Then I asked the judge for one thing, not revenge, not custody, protection. A clear order that Harper could not be forced into statements, threatened, or isolated. The judge didn't argue. He just nodded. Later that night, my phone rang again. Both kids this time. Grandma, Harper said, stronger now. We can come over this weekend. I smiled. Yes, I said, I'll be here. When they came, the house felt like itself again. Shoes kicked off. Backpacks dropped. Noise in the kitchen. Before Harper left, she hugged me tight. Thank you for not making me choose, she said. I held her close. I didn't leave you a war, I said softly. I left you a door. So here's the truth. I didn't just protect myself. I protected the child they thought they could use. My house stayed mine. My money stayed mine, and my voice stayed loud enough to matter. And the people who tried to erase me, they're quiet now, careful. Because when someone you thought was weak stands up calmly and shields the ones you tried to sacrifice, that's not something you forget. So if you're listening to this and you live quietly too, please hear me. Quiet doesn't mean weak. Age doesn't mean disposable. And love does not mean surrender. I'm still here. And now, so is she.